Hey everybody, welcome to awards night. What we're trying to do with this night is we're doing the University Lutheran Awards, and this is a thing that has sort of morphed from a old University Lutheran tradition that we used to have way back when. And that tradition was the senior roast. And the senior roast was this time where we gathered together all of the seniors that had been with us who were graduating and moving on to other places. And we said, hey, let's take a little bit of time and roast you. And normally what we would do is we would sit around in a room, we would have some barbecue from Jim and Milt's, and then we would have all of our seniors come forward and we would roast them. And what we would do is we would give them kind of little awards. We would say, here's something that reminds us of you. Here's this award that we're giving to you. And out of that, we're trying to really show them that we loved them and that we cared for them and that we noticed them, that we knew who they were in all of their idiosyncrasies, even in all of their sins, but also in all of the great things that God was doing in them and all of the great things that we could see in them. Well, this year has been a tough year. And as a tough year, we thought it would be fun to bring this tradition back, but open it up to everybody, not just our seniors, but all of our students, all of our congregation members, and to say, hey, would you like to nominate someone for some awards at University Lutheran? And so what we're doing today is the first annual ever University Lutheran Awards. We hope that this will be a great thing. We hope that you are given over to that sense of thanksgiving for all of the people that we're talking about today. And as we think through these things, as we hear the stories about these people, as we hear the stories about what they've done in our lives and who they are and what we've noticed, we think about Romans 12. We think about that chapter of Paul's letter to the Romans where he says, outdo one another in showing honor. And that's what we're trying to do. Even though some of these are going to be kind of jokey, what we're trying to do is we're trying to show, hey, we honor you. We honor that you have been a part of this crazy year and maybe even more than that, but definitely this crazy year that we've gone through, that we've been trying to figure out, okay, how do we recognize the people that have been a part of this? And so we're going to have a whole bunch of awards. We hope that you enjoy this time. And so we're going to get into our awards. The first award that we have goes to one of our student members, one of our students who does a lot of research, does a lot of things where she's competing in order to get her name out there and just to have some fun experiences. In fact, she even just told us recently that she's going to be spending the summer in Tuscaloosa, Alabama as a part of a research kind of fellowship. And so the first University Lutheran Award of the day goes to Emma Pollard for being most likely to be a Nobel Prize candidate. The next one also goes to one of our student members, one of our students, Alex Walker, who comes to us from Winter Haven, Florida. And Alex shows up for our game nights. And what we found out about Alex is that Alex really likes this one video game called Smash Bros. And so, Alex, you win the University Lutheran Award for being the Smash Bros. Pro. Another one of our students who a lot of our non-students also know is Emma Register, because Emma Register has been a student leader here for 2 years now. She used to be with us in person, but this semester, in fact, this whole year, she has been doing her classes from at home in Oviedo, Florida. And so one of the things that we wanted to recognize was that the force was strong with Emma. And the reason that Emma gets this is that Emma is a huge Star Wars fan. And so Emma gets the University Lutheran Award for having the Force be the strongest in her. One more of our students, his name is David Wetherington. David is this great guy who just went through confirmation with me, and David has all of these great stories. In fact, these stories that are stories about when he's doing things that a lot of our other students go. Just yesterday, one of our students said, David, you're like my dad, but younger, because he's just got that many stories. And so David wins the University Lutheran Award for Did I Ever Tell You About? Another one of our students named Colby. Colby is one of our student leaders, and one of the things that our students have is a GroupMe account. It's a sort of group texting account, and one of the things about Colby is that everybody in that group account tends to write things in their own way, but Colby tends to write mostly in emojis. And so, Colby Spangler, you receive the Speaks in Emoji Award. Another one of our students, in fact, she would be one of the graduating seniors this year, is named Laura Fussell. And Laura is going to be graduating this year. She's been a part of our student leadership team, and we're sorry to see her go. But one of the things about Laura is that I can't seem to get her name right. In several different of our student leadership meetings, I have called her Lauren instead of Laura for some reason. And then her last name is spelled Fussell. And for some reason, I always drop her second L. And so Laura Fussell receives the award for Lauren Fussell. In addition to that, Laura is graduating with a degree in interior design. Now, that doesn't mean interior decorating. That actually kind of means something more like indoor architecture. And so her final project was an 8-story hotel that she had to design everything inside of that hotel. And it took her a long time. She's been doing this basically waking until she's sleeping throughout, and this has been really tough. She also has this thing about chickens, that she really loves chickens. And so the University Lutheran Award for designing an 8-story hotel for chickens goes to Laura Fussell. We've got another student. Her name is Kristen Reagan. Kristen is this personality that just kind of, when you come into the room, you notice Kristen, and Kristen notices you, and she'll oftentimes come after you and start talking to you. And so Kristen Reagan receives the University Lutheran Award for being everyone's friend. So all of those have been students, and we're kind of mixing it up with students and non-students, and this next award goes to some mystery people. In fact, we're calling them the mystery mice, because there's several people that show up at University Lutheran from time to time, and they're pretty adamant about not wanting to be called out for what they do. But they'll show up and they'll do some yard work here, or they'll do some other stuff and help clean up. And so we would like to give the Church Mouse Award to the Mystery Mice. You know who you are. This next award comes to us from somebody who just recognized how much work our student leadership team has been doing this year. And our student leadership team has done some phenomenal things. They have moved the ball forward so much in what we have been able to do for students here at University Lutheran. They have been doing regular events. They have been figuring out how to help with small group. They've been figuring out how we do church in this strange period of wearing masks and being socially distanced, and yet they rose to that challenge. And so we want to give our student leadership team the Christian Leadership Award. This next one comes from some folks that when I look out into the parking lot, a lot of times I will notice, oh, hey, there's somebody out there, and it's usually the Kleins. And the Kleins are usually dropping something off. Maybe that's something for the food drive, or maybe it's something for our kids, or whatever that is. But a lot of times we'll look out and we'll see Arnold and Hilder, and they're there and they're ready to serve. They're ready to drop something off for people that are in need, or whatever that might be. And so the Kleins, you guys get the Drop-Off Award. One of our residents here, a student who lives underneath the church building here, is also a grad student in meteorology. His name is Hayden Murciavsky, and Hayden, being a meteorologist, we wanted to give him the University Lutheran Award for being a man for all seasons. This year has been really difficult for a lot of people, but it has been especially difficult for those of our members who have been in the midst of working this out medically for all of the people that are suffering from this virus. And we certainly recognize all of the people that have been working with those who have had the virus and other medical issues. One person who has really been in the midst of all of that and has worked with many, many COVID patients and other people in her job at the ICU at Tallahassee Memorial is Randy Floyd. And so, Randy, we want to give you the University Lutheran Award for being on the front lines. One of our student leader events that they planned was this event called Goat Yoga that they kept on trying to do, and things kept on getting canceled. And so it was promoted time and time again, and it was like, okay, well, now the date is changing again, now the time is changing again, but they finally got to do it. And when they went out to do it, they found out something interesting about one of our students, Emma Pollard, because the goats were trying to eat her hair. And so, Emma Pollard, you get the University Lutheran Award for having the most delicious hair. During this time of COVID, it's really difficult in order to rise to the level of leadership. And we have needed our leaders here at University Lutheran more than ever. And our student leaders have done a great job, but there's more than just our student leaders that have been working during this time. And one of those leaders who we wanted to recognize simply for being here as a part of our elder team, being here as a part of our council, but also being here and even before that, trying to be here for students and certainly being there for students in his vocation. And so we wanted to give the University Lutheran Stalwart Award to Henry Fielberg. This next award comes particularly from my family. One of the things that you may or may not know is that Hayden Murciavsky has a nickname around here that comes from my girls. His nickname is Ball. And the reason that my girls call him Ball, and that now pretty much all of our students call him Ball, and he's kind of owned that name, is that Cricket, when she was little, she couldn't say Hayden. That was difficult for her to say. And so one of the things that Hayden would always do with her was, we have a blue ball that lives here at church, and he would play ball with her. And so pretty soon, instead of saying Hayden, Cricket would just say, "Oh, are we going to go see Ball?" And so his name just became Ball, and then the other girls started calling him Ball. And so Hayden Ball Murciavsky, you win the University Lutheran Award for being the most well-rounded. Ha ha. Like I said before, this has been a difficult year, and one of the difficulties has been trying to figure out all of the technology that has gone into what we're trying to do in order to push out our worship services online and do several other things, including working with this thing called The Brilliant, where we're going to be publishing a podcast and doing some other great stuff in order to connect up with students that we otherwise wouldn't connect with. And at the center of all of that has been this guy that I like to call the Wizard of University Lutheran. And he gets all of our technology together. He runs sound every Sunday morning since the pandemic started in order to make sure that our sound was getting out there in the right way. And so, Bill Lewick, we want to give you the University Lutheran Award for being the Wizard of ULC. One of our students who came just recently comes to us from New Hampshire, and if you don't know New Hampshire, it's pretty cold there. And amazingly, this student does not like the cold, and so one of the things that brought him to Florida State University is that, well, it's not that cold. And so Zachariah Tiemann, you win the award for hating the cold so much that you moved. This next guy probably hates that we're doing an award for him. He's just that kind of a humble guy, but we wanted to recognize you anyway. And there's a couple of things that go into this award. The first thing is that if you were watching our Facebook services, you would almost always be greeted by Bob Wagner. Bob Wagner would be the first one on there, and he would say, "Good morning." And since Bob was the first one there every morning, Bob also is a lot of times the first one on, or at least he was the first one who really took us up on the offer of doing our Saturday evening fellowships. And so, Bob Wagner, you win the University Lutheran Award for being first. Our student, Laura Fussell, who is going to be graduating this year, also has a green thumb. She loves plants. She loves planting things. But she also has this thing for the color teal. And she really loves the color teal. It's her favorite color. And so, Laura Fussell, you get the University Lutheran Award for the tealest thumb. So when things locked down and when we started pushing out worship in a way that was remote only, we still had to have a few people that were around who were helping us out here in the sanctuary. There was a crew of a few people, including myself and Adam Brink and Bill, who was doing the sound. But another person who was always here every Sunday was Ian Guthrie, and Ian was here. He read every Sunday. He just made it a part of what he was doing, and so because of that, I don't even think about Ian when it comes to doing something like setting him up for Easter and giving him a seat, because I just assume Ian's going to be there. And so, Ian Guthrie, you win the Furniture Award, because you're furniture, man. You just come with this place. One of our other students is a student named Lexi Giller. Lexi comes to us from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Lexi is always telling us about this novel that she's writing. And so Lexi wins the award for, when do we get to read your book? If you know Deb Buenrostro, you also know that she loves LWML. And in her love for LWML, she'll do a whole lot of things in order to tell people about LWML and what LWML is doing. And so, Deb, you win the University Lutheran Award for having a Purple Heart. I mentioned this before, that Kristen Reagan is somebody who is sort of everybody's friend here, and that doesn't just apply to here at University Lutheran. It's actually something that she lives out when she's outside of this place, and she'll run into people. Probably the most interesting one of them is she ran into somebody while walking across campus who at least claimed to be a professional wrestler, and had a great conversation with him. And so Kristen Reagan wins the award for talking to strangers. One of the things about being on our council is that our council is actually it's 13 people on our church council, which means that it's over 10% of our actual membership number. And so because of that, a lot of times it's really hard to find people that are willing to serve on council because it's more than 10%. And so a lot of times what we have is we have people that will switch and they'll go from one council position to the other just because term limits come up and things like that. And so one of the things that happens there is that you can do a whole bunch of different things on council. And one of the nominations came in for Elsa McKinney, who gets the Musical Chairs Award because she has filled just about every chair on council. And so you get that one. One of our other students, David Wetherington, I think he told me that he has a total of 6 cars registered with the state of Florida, and he drives those up here from time to time. And just recently he had a van that was here and parked in one of the student garages for something like 3 months. It was kind of nuts. And he also, in order to park here at University Lutheran, you need to register your car with me and with the office here. And so David Wetherington wins the award for number of cars registered with University Lutheran. This next award might seem like it doesn't fit the person, and that's a part of the reason for it. We know this guy who is a part of University Lutheran who, he comes from New York. He will tell you all sorts of different things about New York, as well as his time in the submarine service and also his time in the Roman Catholic Church. And so just in terms of recognizing all of the movements that this guy has made from being a New York City Roman Catholic to being a Tallahassee Lutheran, Conrad Walsh wins the Southern Lutheran Award. Another one of our students is a guy named Colby Spangler. Colby does a lot of great things around here, but one of the things that Colby does a really great job of is that he is able to put together probably the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. And in addition to that, he also is just somebody who, whenever he buys chocolate, there have been a few events where chocolate has been purchased. Whenever he buys chocolate, it seems like he buys the good chocolate. And so Colby wins the University Lutheran Award for great chocolate. Hugging has been really difficult in this time of COVID because we're supposed to be socially distant, and that has been a toll on some people who normally are really big huggers. And one of those people is Scarlett Holcomb. When you see Scarlett, a lot of times she'll even tell you that she wants to hug you, but she knows that she can't. And so Scarlett, you win the University Lutheran Award for most missed hugs. We miss your hugs too. One of our students that we mentioned before, named Lexi Giller, has this amazing large social circle, but it's all online. It's all from people from Reddit and places like that. And so Lexi Giller wins the University Lutheran Award for biggest online social circle. Speaking of being online, one of our student leaders has been joining us via Zoom this entire year because she's been at home. Emma Register has been taking classes in Ovidio, but she's also been able to be a part of our team thanks to Zoom. And so every time that we get together for a student leadership meeting, we always put her up on the TV via my laptop so that she can join us and kind of be a part of that with us. And so Emma Register wins the Zoomiest University Lutheran Award. One of our other students, Lauren Barfield, was a part of our goat yoga extravaganza, and apparently she really took to the baby goats. And so, Lauren Barfield, you get the University Lutheran Award for baby goat doot doo doot doo doo, baby goat doot doo doot doo. This next one comes from something that we've already mentioned. Ian Guthrie, throughout the pandemic, especially when we were just doing worship services that were being pushed out, Ian was always our reader. But in addition to that, whenever you're in Bible study with Ian, you get that he doesn't just read when he's up here. He reads the Bible over and over and over again. He's got one of the greatest scriptural reading habits of, I think, anybody at University Lutheran, myself included. And so because of that, we wanted to make sure that that was noticed. And so Ian Guthrie, you win the University Lutheran Bible Reader Award. Another one of our students is a guy named Alejandra Rojas. Alejandro came in just one day because this was the closest church to his apartment. He came and he had all sorts of questions about who Jesus was and how that all worked out and what the Bible was about. And thankfully he walked in here, and Ian actually was here too. Ian was able to set him up and get him a spot to sit, and he started coming to small group. And one of the things that Alejandro just brings whenever you're in a room with him is he just brings this sense of joy. And it's just really amazing to watch him walk into a room and exude that joy. And so, Alejandro, you get the University Lutheran Award for pure joy. Like I mentioned, this year has been a difficult year, and in the midst of this difficult year, we've needed leaders. And one of those leaders that has really stepped up to the plate in so many different ways that I've mentioned before, he stepped up to the plate in terms of being the wizard of University Lutheran and doing so much stuff for our tech. He has been a part of the steering committee, the leadership team for our brilliant thing that we're beginning to push out with the 5-2 organization, and he also has been our church council president and has led us through a difficult year as that. And so, Bill Lewick, you win the Leadership in Troubled Times Award. Another one of our residents is a guy named Stephen Babin, and when you come here, you'll usually see there's 2 gray cars, and those gray cars are both both of our residents. One of them is Hayden Murciavsky. The other one is our resident Stephen Babin. However, sometimes you won't see Stephen's car here because it's in the shop. The guy has a car that is in the shop, probably more than what a lot of us go to the shop in a number of years. And so, Stephen, we hope that your car gets fixed for good this next time, but you win the University Lutheran Award for car problems. One of the things about this past year that has been difficult for many of us has been to hear about Mary Hafner's struggles with health. And as we've been hearing about that and praying about those things, we wanted to just really rejoice in the fact that Mary has been so resilient in the midst of that God has lifted her up and has healed her so many times during this. And so, Mary, you win the University Lutheran Award for being the most resilient. It's been a tough year for all of us, but especially for you. Another one of our students is a guy named Rob Wardleborough. And so Rob usually shows up to our small group events super early. He's usually here like 15 minutes, maybe even more than 15 minutes. And so I always get to have a little bit of a conversation with him before things really get started up on our Wednesday evenings. And so, Rob, you win the University Lutheran Early Bird Award. One of the things that we've missed out on as we've gone through this COVID thing and how we've been doing announcements is one of the things about doing announcements is I usually ask the gathered folks, hey, are there any other announcements? And I haven't really been doing that, and people have noticed that, and they've noticed that somebody has not been having any announcements, and we miss it. So, Deb, you get the University Lutheran Award for. Does anybody have any? Deb? Another one of our students, Brittany Franklin, works at one of the public schools here in Tallahassee, one of the Leon County schools, and she gets up super early, which is saying something for a student. And so Brittany Franklin, you get up at 5 in the morning in order to go and serve children. We give you the Earliest Riser Award. I mentioned this one before one time in worship, but it's a big deal. Whenever I go back and I hear audio from University Lutheran and I'm listening to an old sermon or something like that, I'll hear a chuckle. And it's just great to have this guy be a part of University Lutheran, mostly just because he's somebody who'll actually laugh at my jokes. And so, Blake Cancer, you get the University Lutheran Award for Laugh Track. Another one of our students, Sophia Contrado, is a student who, like Alejandro, didn't have a background in being Lutheran, but simply was looking for a church, was looking for a connection with Jesus. And this church ended up being really close by to her. And so she decided, hey, I'm just going to go to that church. And she started talking to us about what she could do here, and she started coming to our Wednesday night gatherings, and then some things started happening in her life, and that meant that in second semester, in the spring semester, she had to make the tough decision to move back home. And so there's just a whole lot of those courageous decisions that she had to make, and so we want to make sure that she's awarded the University Lutheran Award for courageous decisions. One of the things about getting together on Sunday mornings here is that one of the things that I do is I usually turn the camera around while Adam is playing the prelude in order to show all of the people online, all of the people that are here, so that there can be a little bit of that feeling of community. And my girls have really taken to that as I turn the camera around. They'll usually wave and say hi to everybody, and people say hi back to them using the chat. And so, Winters girls, you get the University Lutheran Award for being the waviest wavers. One of our other students is a guy named Hunter Garrison, and Hunter has probably the best nickname out of everybody, and his nickname is Hunna G, and we just want to recognize that he gets the University Lutheran Award for having the best nickname. Here at University Lutheran, we have a whole bunch of meteorologists. You can't swing a cat without hitting a meteorologist around here. And one of those meteorologists happens to be our treasurer. And so not only is this guy good at forecasting the weather, he's also good at forecasting our finances. And so Ryan Truschlet, you get the University Lutheran Award for Pragmatic Prophecy. Somebody who is around here throughout the week that doesn't get enough credit for all that she does is Jan LeBar. And she gets our bulletins together. She keeps a lot of things here running, and she keeps everything together in terms of keeping it in order. And so, Jan LeBar, you receive the University Lutheran Award for Law and Order. Colby, one of our student leaders, has this thing about time, and you can usually tell if you're going over time because Colby will start to sort of fidget at you, and when that starts to happen, I know, okay, things are going over time, we need to wrap it up, and so it's actually pretty helpful there. So Colby gets the University Lutheran Award for TikTok. Where would we be in the midst of our worshiping online and in person if it weren't for Adam Brink and all that he brings us through bringing us his talent and leading us in worship every Sunday here. And so, Adam Brink, you get the Best Jazz Musician Award as well as being the best organist and church musician that we know. Thank you. One of our students, the student who hates the cold so much, is from New Hampshire, and that seems like it's a state that people always forget about. And so we just want to give the University Lutheran Award for, you're from where? To Zachariah Tiemann. Now, I'm not really sure that I agree with this one, but this one came in as a nomination, and sure enough, there's plenty of times where I talk to Liz and I say, hey, what about this thing that I'm preaching about? And she might give me a few tips here and there. And so, Liz Winters, you win the University Lutheran Award for being the sermon ghostwriter. Another one of our students that has been a part of the Brilliant and really putting the Brilliant together, she in a lot of ways has been the sort of motivating force behind our doing the Brilliant and going in a lot of the early directions that we've been going in with that project, has been Lexi Pitson. But Lexi's always super busy, and so a lot of times she's not here on a Wednesday night or she's not here on a Sunday morning, and so a lot of times other students will ask, what's Lexi doing right now? Because she's running her own business and she's doing journalism and she's doing all sorts of stuff. And so Lexi Pitson, you win the award for, what's she doing? So for a long time, we didn't have any COVID diagnosis at University Lutheran, and that was actually something that was really good. Like we don't ever want somebody to get this virus. Unfortunately, that has happened a few different times for different members now that they have received the virus. Thankfully, everybody's recovered from it so far, and the first person who got that was our own Sheila Townsend. So Sheila, you win the University Lutheran Award, which I'm not sure it's the best award, but you got the first COVID diagnosis. Finally, one of our residents who, because he lives here, he knows the place really well, and he's sort of soft-footed. He can walk around and be pretty quiet, is Hayden Murciavsky. And so Hayden, a lot of times will be in a room, and then all of a sudden you'll turn around and he's there. And so Hayden wins the University Lutheran Award for heart attacks. And that's it for our awards, and certainly there are so many other people that are deserving of awards, and we only had so many nominations come in. We're hoping that we can do this again and have even more nominations come in for people. And we ask that you would join us in giving thanks for these people, but also in giving thanks to God for all of the people that are affiliated with our Jesus-centered community of Scripture, faith, and grace, and that you would do exactly what the Apostle Paul says, that you would continue to outdo one another in showing honor. And so, if you would, please pray with me. Lord God, we do ask that you would continue to be with us. We ask that you would continue to lead us through this difficult time. And we thank you for the people that you have put around us in community, even if that community is dispersed right now, even if we're engaging over things like video. We thank you for those people that are in this community with us, that are united with us by your body and blood and your Holy Spirit. And so, Lord, we thank you for these people. We ask that we would continue to outdo one another in showing honor, and that we would continue to love and forgive and show one another grace. We pray this all in your holy name. Amen. Thanks so much for being a part of this with us, and we hope that you have a blessed day. Bye.